Hi friends, this is Jivesh. Welcome to my channel Bioprofessional. Today I'm gonna start a new lecture series where I'll be discussing about cell signaling in eukaryotes. So if you are preparing for CSIR, ICR, GATE or any competitive exams, you need to prepare this topic in a very great detail so that you answer all those questions with very confidence, because every time there are questions from this topic. And as this process cell signaling is very important in your body, because this, if it is not maintained, your body will not function properly. Okay, we will see how it is so much important. Okay, and I will have to use my computer screen to make you understand in a very simplified manner. I prepared some slides so that you understand in a very simplified way. So if you are watching this video for very first time, I recommend you to subscribe to my channel, tap the bell icon so that when I upload a new video, you get the notification. So please stay tuned and put your 100% attention to watch the complete lecture. So as you can see here, this cell signaling in eukaryotes, this is a very broad topic. I will discuss all this topic in a great detail with my subsequent video lecture. So this video is gonna describe the overview of cell signaling, right? You have to develop a overview first, and after that you will divide all this part and we'll try to cover up in a great detail. So before you start studying this topic cell signaling, you must ask yourself one question, that why cell signaling is so much important, right? What will happen if there is no cell-cell communication? Because every living organism you see around, every living multicellular organism, they perform the cell signaling process. If you consider your body also, the organs that is working in your body are well coordinated. They are connected by some means. We will see how they are connected, right? So if there is no cell signaling, your organs doing their individual job cannot perform, because all these processes are very complementary way, right? So to maintain all the physiological process in a coordinated manner, there is the requirement of cell signaling. If it is not working, then your body will not work in a coordinated manner. Okay, so let's understand by taking one example. So you can see here, this is rasgullas and chocolates, right? If you eat all of them at once, what will happen in your body, right? So you can just imagine, this is high level of sugar, right? This is sugar. If you take, your blood sugar level will be very high. So to maintain this blood sugar level, you need insulin for that. So how insulin performs its job, we will see in the subsequent lecture. But for now, you have to remember that your blood sugar level, if it is increased, there is insulin and there is cell signaling, right? The level of sugar in your blood is increased. That means someone needs to recognize it first. After that, insulin will come into play and it will do its function, right? So how this pancreas, as you know that blood sugar level is high, so there comes the importance of cell signaling, right? Okay, let's consider another example, right? Suppose a man suddenly saw one elephant running towards him, right? And just you place yourself in this situation and imagine that how will you react to this situation. So in that situation, you will start running away from that particular place, right? So for that you need energy. So you need energy and you need oxygen, right? And subsequently your heart rate also be increased. So I am giving this example to make you understand that every process in your body are doing their job in a very coordinated manner. When you start running, you need oxygen. For that, your lungs activity will increase, your heart will pump your blood in a very fast, right? Because your whole body needs oxygen. You need energy to run away from this place. So there comes the importance of one particular hormone known as epinephrine. So we will also see how all this process occurs in your body. Okay, so to understand the process of cell signaling, there is a simple analogy. Okay, so let's say there is person X, okay, and there are 4 different persons A, B, C and D. They are in a different place. Okay, let's say the person comes to them, this person X comes to them. So, and one thing, that B knew that person X earlier, means they know each other. Okay, so when this X will come to all these 4 group of people, then X will say, oh, I know B, and B will also recognize him. Okay, and they will try talking at the very first moment. So you have to just apply this analogy to understand the cell signaling process. You can see there are one cell is there, and to distinguish the different cell type, I use the different color 1, 2, 3 and 4 different kind of cells are there. Okay, let's say this cell release one signaling molecule, right, and that signaling molecule comes to this cell types, and for that there is receptor for that. So in a very short moment we will see what is receptor and signaling molecule, right. So this is receptor is present in this cell, and when this signaling molecule will come, right, when this signaling molecule will come and bind to this receptor, and there will be starting of cell signaling process, and right, that is we call it as downstream signaling. So just you have to analyze that point, because this cell carries that receptor for that particular signaling molecule. So when the signaling molecules come to this cell, the cell signaling process starts. So extracellular signaling, so try to understand this term. Extracellular signaling means one cell is providing one signal molecule, and that signaling molecule goes to another cell and do its job. So this is extracellular, right. When this signaling occurs inside the cell, we call it intracellular, and for that matter, when this signaling molecule goes from one cell to another cell, we call it extracellular, right. So extracellular signaling molecules involves the following steps. So this is the very first step, synthesis of the signaling molecule. So there must be some signaling molecule. So you can just relate this term signaling molecule as messenger, because messenger will go and give the message to another person, right. So this is one signaling molecule. It will it will have some information and it will pass on to another cell, right. And after synthesis of this signaling molecule, the signaling molecule will release from the signaling cell, okay, and the transport of the signal to the target cell, because when one cell release on signaling molecule, it travels some distance, right, and it will just bind on the receptor of other cell. So that is, this process is called the transportation, right. And then signal molecule binds to a specific receptor, causing its activation, okay. And after that there will be some downstream signaling. So we call it as signal transduction pathway, okay. So based on the distance traveled by the signal molecule, right, we classify the extracellular signaling, right. When suppose there is one cell type and this cell synthesizes signaling molecule, okay. So when this cell releases signaling molecule, and if the receptor for that signaling molecule is present on the same cell, we call it as autocrine signaling, right. This cell synthesizes one signaling molecule, and this signaling molecule binds to the same cell. And why it binds to the same cell? Because it carries the receptor for it, okay. And after that there will be some downstream signaling, okay. And after that there is paracrine signaling. One cell synthesizes signaling molecule, it releases this signaling molecule outside the cell, and there are some, this signal molecule travels some distance, local. You can just see the cell is placed very near to this cell, okay. and it travels some distance. Let's say just imagine, let's say there is another cell, so it is just spreads its message locally. Okay, there is signaling molecule and it binds to locally different other cells present nearby. So this is called this is called as paracrine signaling. Okay, and the third type we call it as endocrine. Okay, one cell, you can see here, this cell synthesizes on signaling molecule, and this signaling molecule pass through blood circulation. Okay, blood circulation, you can see there is blood circulation, and after that this signaling molecule travels some long distance in your body. Okay, and it reaches some another cell type and it provides its message. Okay, and it will bind. You can see here there is receptor, it binds to this particular receptor, and there is signaling. So we classify based on the distance traveled by the signal molecule. So this is autocrine, this is paracrine, and this is endocrine. Okay, another category is there where there is no diffusion, right? You can see that cell signaling, that signal molecule is diffused from the cell, right? It is outside the cell. So in that case, right, where signal molecule do not diffuse from the signaling cell, they require physical contact between cells. Let's say this is two cells, right? There are two cells and they contact each other, and then it's physical contact. We will also see how this process goes on. We call it as a juxtacrine signaling, although I didn't write here the name of the signaling process. So we call it as juxtacrine signaling. Example is like delta notch pathway. Okay, so extracellular messenger, as I told you that there are some signaling molecules which carry message and provides to other cells. Okay, so there are some different kinds of nature of the, so there are different kinds of extracellular messenger. There are like amino acids and their derivatives. Example like glutamate, glycine, acetylcholine, etc. Means they carry some information and they will pass. So all these are type of extracellular messenger. Okay, so this variety of molecules may be amino acids and their derivatives, their polypeptides and proteins. Okay, and steroids like their cholesterol derivatives, and there may be also eicosanoids, right? What are eicosanoids? They are derived from fatty acid, arachidonic acid. This is 20 carbon long, 20 carbon long chain. Okay, we will see what is that in a subsequent lecture. So for now you just have to develop a broad picture. For that I am not discussing it in a great detail, so you just have to develop a broad picture, right? So there are receptors that mediates the signal transduction. As we have seen, there is signal molecule, right? Let's use one pen. There is one signaling molecule, right? And there is receptor, right? Let's say there is receptor, and this is one cell. Okay, this is one cell. So these signal molecules, okay, so these signal molecules when come and binds to this, so we call it as receptor, right? So this signal molecules is also referred as ligand. So ligand binds to receptor, and after that there is downstream signaling, and we call it as signal transduction pathway. Okay, so there are different types of receptors. Okay, we call it as GPCR, means G protein coupled receptor, right? So this is huge family of receptor, means there are lots of GPCRs performing their job in a living system. Okay, this is basically the alpha helix, 7 transmembrane helices. We will see all these details. Okay, you just don't have to worry for that. You just remember this receptor's name. So, and there are RTKs, receptor tyrosine kinases, ligand gated channels are there, steroid hormone receptors are there. Okay, and some other unique types Means why I use this term unique, because they perform signal transduction pathway in a slightly different manner, and they have some unique mechanism to function, like B cell receptors and T cell receptors. So their roles comes when we study the immunology, right? Okay, so you got to know that there is some signaling molecule and there is receptor, and when they binds each other and they perform the downstream signaling. Okay, so from next lecture we will try to see that what types of signals occurs in our body, and every single details. And if you watch this lecture with your 100% concentration, I'm sure that you will start reading more and more, and obviously you will develop interest for studying the life sciences. Thank you for watching my lecture.